This is Dr. Zorba, pastor, with an update concerning RFK's testimony in front of Congress. It was absolute bullshit. All right. It was absolute rubbish. And let me tell you why. So right now we have roughly 2,500 cases of measles reported. You could argue that it's 2,200, but it's probably closer to 2,500. And then if you look at the fact that many measles cases are never, ever reported to the government or authorities, and they're not keeping track of the number of reported cases because there have been massive, massive cuts to the budget to do that. It's probably more like about 5,000 cases. Now, let's look back 20 years ago when there were just a handful of cases, and that's because people are not immunizing their children for measles. You need 95% of the population to immunize children for measles. Otherwise, you're going to have an outbreak. And by the way, if you look at the state of Wisconsin, we are number 49 when it comes to MMR immunizations in the country. We are at the bottom of the heap. The top of the heap, by the way, happens to be Mississippi and West Virginia. So our health commission in the state of Wisconsin has been doing a miserable job when it comes to that. But basically, RFK, when he was asked all about this measles epidemic, he said, "Oh no, it has nothing to do with me. It started before I was there." Of course it started before he was there, and that's because he supported the anti-vaxxers, and the anti-vaxxers supported him, and he made lots of money with the anti-vaxxers. And of course he's got the Kennedy name, he's got the Kennedy fortune behind him, and so on and so forth. Remember, he is part of the anti-vaccine cult that is influencing America today. So here it is. He kept on saying, well, let's go back to diet. Well, he's right. We should improve the diet and get rid of ultra-processed foods. But that has nothing to do with immunizing our children. He said, well, we've got to make sure we do a better job on chronic diseases. He's right. But that has nothing to do with the fact that we should be immunized for chronic diseases, that we should be immunized for shingles. No one really wants to get shingles if you're an older adult. We should be immunized for influenza when we're in the middle of an influenza epidemic, which we are not right now. We should be immunized for COVID. Certainly, oh my God, I actually said it, be immunized for COVID. You know, a number of the anti-vaxxers may come to my house and just parade in front of them. It's just ridiculous. Come on. Prior to this particular administration, there was no pro and anti-immunization. It's that immunizations were an acceptable form to protect our society from many diseases. Smallpox was eliminated not through diet, but the immunizations. Smallpox killed 100 million people, roughly, in the century before, from 1850 to 1950. Meningitis. When I first started practice, I had roughly 5 cases of meningitis, of children who had meningitis over about a 6 or 7 year period because the Hib vaccine had not been invented. We don't see that anymore. Immunizations change lives. And if you know someone, especially somebody who has a child who is immunization weary, if they're stuck in the cult of anti-immunizations, forget it. You're not going to convince them. But there are a number of people that are immunization curious that do not want to immunize their children for all of the childhood diseases they should. But they should immunize them for some of them. Have them start slowly. Have them start with polio, DPT, diphtheria, pertussis, and tetanus. They're important. And have them get an MMR vaccine. And have them just try some of them. It's not an all or nothing for some people. It's a some. This is Dr. Zorba, pastor, reminding you to stay well.